campus because of some huge news for BYU men's basketball today. The Cougars and head coach Kevin Young securing the #1 overall recruit, AJ DeBansa. And the women's team hoping to feed off that momentum and that energy that is around campus.
It is a great time to be a BYU Cougar fan if you are watching and paying attention. And the women's team playing well right now, 7-2 and 3, coming off that loss to Air Force.
The Wolverines control the tip. Allie Criddle into the lane, finds a seam, too strong off the glass, offensive rebound, grabbed by Tessa Cheney.
The Wolverines average just under 15 offensive boards a game, but they're not executing when they get those second chance opportunities. That is something that's going to be an emphasis in this game. Can they finish?
There's Emma Calvert on the defense, colliding with Danya Stafford-Collins, and it's off Leah White. Cut off by Gibb. She'll try the left-handed dribble into some trouble against Calvert. Tough pass, scramble for the loose ball, and a jump ball. Possession arrow to BYU as you look at the Utah Valley starters. And BYU starting 5 in contrast.
And UVU has a little bit more size, some good length. They've got the two kind of true bigs in there with Stafford, Collins, and Cheney. Very physical team as well. Well, that's their bread and butter. That high-low, 35% from distance coming in. One of the best three-point shooters for this BYU team. And coming off a 15-point game against UTEP.
There's a steal by Whiting. Amari Whiting is fouled on her way to the basket. And you mentioned Congdon's 15-point performance. 4 different Cougars scored in double figures in BYU's 81-68 win over UTEP, including Amari Whiting, who will inbound baseline right.
You passed up a good shot and a better shot for a best shot. Wide open 3, that's what they want.
Criddle looking for some help, finds it in Amanda Barcelo, the transfer from BYU. One of those many connections. Tough pass from Cheney inside, and another early turnover by Utah Valley. BYU with a 5-2 advantage. 3 minutes and 9 seconds into the opening frame.
And as we saw right there by UVU, they weren't looking. Tess Cheney is not looking for a three-point shot at all. Their game.
21 seconds on the shot clock. BYU to inbound. It's Amari Whiting once again. To Gibb. Quick shot up, a little too strong off the glass. And the rebound to Stafford. And here is the aforementioned Blackham just into the game, replacing Criddle with those 2 fouls that Kristen just pointed out.
Well, BYU shooting 3 for 8 to start the game so far, but they're getting good looks. The shots just aren't quite falling to this point as Cheney going up once again. And Cheney's going to...
Overall ready for Utah Valley in the first 5 minutes and change of this game. Here is Delaney Gibb, baseline, and she turns it over for the second time individually and represents both of BYU's turnovers, one with the carry and there with the travel.
Those are tough because you want your freshmen to continue to be aggressive. And there you see a foul with Amari Whiting trying to utilize her aggressiveness defensively. This is where she sets the tone for BYU. She's the hawk.
Back on the right wing as Mabry flashing to the high post. And again, Blackham wanted something inside, nothing there. So Gibb will reset. 8 seconds on the shot clock. And a forced pass inside. They're going to get Calvert with a hold. That's a bailout right there.
Boy, that was a bullet of a pass. And when you're posting up, when Cheney's in there posting up on Calvert and trying to hold your ground, that's a ball you can't catch. It can't come in that quickly. Ball reversal and get another look. And I know they're trying to get it into Cheney, but it's tough because defensively, BYU can just stand on that 3-quarter in front of her and keep her in check.
Emma Calvert, long 2. Is just a bit long from BYU's forward.
Calvert coming off of that career high against UTEP, 27 points in that game. She was 13 for 18. She has yet to score in this one.
0 for 3 from the field. Blackham wide open 3. That too is no good. Rebounded by Delaney.
Ball reversal and get another look. And I know they're trying to get it into Cheney, but it's tough because defensively, BYU can just stand on that 3-quarter in front of her and keep her in check.
Emma Calvert, long 2. Is just a bit long from BYU's forward.
Calvert coming off of that career high against UTEP, 27 points in that game. She was 13 for 18. She has yet to score in this one.
0 for 3 from the field. Blackham wide open 3. That too is no good. Rebounded by Delaney. And takeaway by BYU. Davenport dribbles into a three. Rimmed out, then bounced off once again, and Criddle gets the instruction from her head coach Dan Nielsen to slow things down a little bit as we approach 6 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, this pace, if we're playing at this fanatic pace, it's going to bode in favor for BYU. They want to play fast, and you can see how quickly they're getting the ball up the court. They're not afraid to take threes in the open court.
Stafford for three. That's short, off the fingertips of Calvert. Whiting secures the right in front of the Utah Valley bench. Finds relief in Cannon. Amanda Barcelo with active hands in the passing lane, knocks it out of bounds.
They wreak havoc defensively in that zone, and I love that look, and I think Coach Nielsen's going to lean into that as the game.
BYU's 9, which is uncharacteristic for Gibb. BYU giving it away over the last 3 games 17 times. They're well on their way to not wanting to beat that number, but beating that number.
Yeah.
Freeze. Looking for more, and she flips a pass over to Calvert. Wasn't sure if that was going to be a shot attempt at first or a pass. It was a pass, and Calvert pays it off.
Yeah, you ask her, that's definitely a pass right to Calvert, and I just love her ability because she is longer at that 4 spot. She can hit from the outside and then put it on the floor as we saw there and create. BYU with that huge advantage. 4 players out there that can create and put the ball on the floor.
That is a game-high advantage for the Cougars with 1:15 to play before halftime.
BYU has 6 offensive rebounds and 8 second chance points. The Wolverines not doing a good job finding a body, boxing out. That's tough to do when you're playing a zone, to find a body and rebound outside of that zone.
7-0 run for BYU in the last minute and a half.
And that's a rebound that Tess Chaney should have had. Go get that ball, find a body first. See, she doesn't find a body. And here comes Barber and Gibb as well. You've got to block out a white jersey.
BYU run. And here is Delaney Gibb. 36-24, 12-point advantage. Sage Gibb faked the 3. 3 seconds to play in the half. Blackham into some contact, and that'll stop the clock with a half-second to play. And Blackham with 2 very hard-earned free throws forthcoming.
She is small in stature, but she is feisty, and I really like just how she's out there putting her head down and working, trying to do everything she can.
I've been here a few times to do it. At this point, it's just basketball. It's all about relationships, not so much what's on the jersey. So, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Dan Nielsen for Utah Valley. Kristen, you have a unique relationship with him because at one point when he was helping coach with Jeff Judkins, and early in his coaching, getting to the head coaching position he is at now, like he had to start as a practice player,
yeah, that's
practicing against you at the collegiate. Dan Nielsen called the timeout.
And Whiting is definitely walking gingerly on that right leg. So the officials were just doing a check timeout to make sure she was okay. They're not calling a timeout.
Okay, so what? It looked like Dan almost called it.
Well, yeah, he was signaling for a timeout. I think he wants to stop the bleeding right now with how BYU has jumped out 7.
Is it about BYU right after halftime that makes them so aggressive and good?
Well, I think they're really good at adjustments, and Coach Whiting, whatever she says at halftime, we don't know for sure what happened. She said she gets pretty fired up, right? And so
we just heard she yells a lot.
Yes.
That was all that was said. She yells a lot.
But not only her, but I just think the staff, and go down the list, they're very good at the X's and O's and making adjustments, recognizing, okay, this is what we need to focus on, emphasize with our girls.
Down. Skip pass to Barber. Barber is bumped, finds Gillespie inside with position. Off the glass, near and one. And Kendra Gillespie, the transfer from Baylor, will go to the free throw line. And how about this? Attempt the first 2 free throws of the game for BYU with 5:59 to play in the third quarter.
Gillespie so strong in there, 6'2", and just utilizing that strength. Ella took 1 shot in the first half, and we talked about it earlier on, but she just needs to assert herself more into the offense, take over more. She's a redshirt junior, experienced playing here at BYU, and then last year with Coach Dan Nielsen, and she is a scorer, really good playing downhill, and then one of his best 3-point shooters.
Long on the free throw from Barcelo, her older brother Alex, one of the best. and maybe if you ask some, the best.
See, he has multiple weapons, and it just makes it so much harder for the defense. It keeps the defense honest when the ball's moving and everybody's getting opportunities.
Barcelo. Here is Blackham, spinning around Gibb. High arcing floater, misses everything around the rim. And Whiting will get some instructions from her head coach and her mom, Amber Whiting.
Well, the size inside for BYU is one out in the...
Gillespie, look at this.
Well, Gillespie's physical, and if you're coming in there, you're challenging her, right? And just going right at her, and that just shows you the toughness that Mabry plays with. And whether they got Barber or Gillespie, looks like they did get Gillespie on that foul, but Mabry not shying away from the contact, drawing the contact, and then a couple other players for BYU just getting tripped up.
A good call with Gillespie late sliding over. Frankly, Chris, and they pushing to the right wing and collecting. Mabry will get it back. Bounce inside. Stafford working on Davenport. Offensive rebound, put back, also no good. And I'm not sure how that's not Utah Valley basketball, because it looked like it was clearly touched by BYU, but it goes to the Cougars. So BYU perhaps catches a break right there after two misses by Utah Valley.
BYU did a really good job. Just
5 rebounds.
Takes that initial shot, but then goes and cleans up her own rebound. You see Barber getting called with the contact there. Stafford Collins comes from a family. She has 7 brothers. There's 8 kids. She's the only girl. So you know she's grown up in a house where she had to be tough. She had to fight through a lot of adversity, I'm sure, with those brothers. It comes from Santa Clara, where she played 4 years before that. She was at Arizona Community College. She's in her 6th season of college basketball.
Playing their first game after the huge news of the #1 overall recruit in the country, A.J. DeBonsa, committing to BYU today. And speaking of head coach Kevin Young on the men's side, Kristen, it's taken him all of, what, maybe 8 months to recruit 5 of BYU's 10 highest rated recruits in program history.
It's incredible.
Amari Whiting scores out of the 4th quarter gate to push the lead to 26.
And really, when they go small, I mean, they have Calvert in there at 6'4", so they go a little bit smaller with her in there at the 4 spot, but she makes up for it with her heart and her toughness and her effort.
Yeah, tough break, no doubt, when you talk about Mariah Hudgens. And again, BYU will pace her along as quickly as they can, coming off that knee injury. Frankly, you just want her healthy for that back half of the stretch of conference play. At least you hope to get her back by...
Exactly what it needed to. Turn the curve was over, right? But they have not been able to hit shots at the level that BYU has. So you just can't keep up offensively. If you can't hit shots and trade baskets, or when BYU has turnovers, as we mentioned earlier, they were not executing off of those turnovers and converting them into points. That's tough. And that's the adjustment that needs to be made with this group. But a team that was picked preseason to place 8th out of the 9 teams in the WAC, I imagine they're going to be much higher than that. He's got good depth. They have not scored yet. And when you can't score, it goes back to what we've been talking about, the offensive rebounds and getting yourself to the free throw line. Who can attack? Who can make a play, draw contact, get to the free throw line? When you make shots, it's contagious. When you miss shots, it's contagious, and we're seeing that here.
Barber's 3 is short, saves it in bounds. Battle for the loose ball. It's won by Utah Valley. Allie Criddle quickly into the front court. The Wolverines have not scored in the 4th quarter, only managed 5 after the turnover there by Blackham on the steal by Barber.
Look at Gillespie go, running the point, a point forward.
Tanuvasa into the game for BYU. Floater is too strong, so Naya Tanuvasa, the freshman out of Highland, Utah, and Lone Peak High School, seeing some minutes here. And not surprisingly, Amber Whiting going to empty the bench and give her younger players some important minutes as they look to build some of their own chemistry and experience. Dominance and that presence in the post. Gillespie is an immediate impact in that regard. 68-33, 3:10 to play. BYU away. What a shooting performance from a gritty veteran and someone who brings so much leadership to the bench for this BYU squad.
Well, Coach Amber Whiting calls her the wild card because she really can get hot very quickly, but she can do so much of everything for this team.